Weird and wacky pumpkin patterns. Today on Call for Help.
I hope these people can help me with my computer.
Oh.
A technician will be with you in 4 hours.
4 hours?
You can upgrade for just $5,000.
What?
The Universal Serial Config Board should be set to ID 6.
I need that in plain English. Help!
Leo Laporte at Call for Help. May I help you?
Okay.
Hi, welcome. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome to Call for Help. Leo Laporte here. And this is the show where we're going to help you get the most out of your personal technology, whether it's a confuser, Windows, Mac, we even talk about Linux, or it's an MP3 player, or a PDA, or a cell phone, home theater, anything with a chip in it. That's what we talk about. And the whole idea of this show is to empower you. I know that's kind of a catchphrase nowadays, but to teach you how to use these things so you can use them to change the world. And you're smart. Some of you say, not me. Yeah, you're smart. You can do it. It's easy. If a 10-year-old you can do it, you can do it. So, and if you're 10 years old, you can do it. You probably already know. You don't even need to watch the show. If you're 8 years old, you're as smart as a 10-year-old. Or better. Anyway, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here on my Helpettes. We're debating what color they're wearing. We've got Amber MacArthur, who says she's wearing aqua. It looks like, well, now on the TV it looks like aqua, but it looks
aqua.
like green in person.
Yeah, it's green or, bluish green.
Bluish green is a little blue in it.
My dad used to have a pair of pants that color.
I wouldn't boast about that. And, of course, Andy Green Pants Walker. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You know what? I always say that there's no such thing as a stupid question. There's just only stupid answers.
Right.
Which, of course, in this show.
You're right.
But no,
we give you a lot of those.
But it's true, though. Somebody says, what do you mean you don't know the answer to that question? Or that's a dumb question. That's the dumb answer if you say that.
Yeah, no, there's no dumb questions. We love every question. And really, oftentimes in this industry, anyway, the dumb question is the one you're afraid of asking is the one everybody else
everybody wants to ask that question.
It's just afraid to ask. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff that people are just look at, think, well, I guess everybody knows this, but boy, I don't get it at all.
Yeah,
that's right. So that's why we're here. We don't judge you. We don't say what a dumb question. We want to answer them all. What are you going to be talking about today, Andy?
Today we're going to talk about disk partitioning.
Oh, that's a good subject.
Yeah, we take a hard drive and you make many pretend hard drives inside it, sort of thing. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but I'm going to use pies to show you.
Nice.
Always fun.
And pumpkin pies.
And pumpkin pies.
Yeah.
Speaking of pumpkins, you're doing a little pumpkin stuff.
Yeah,
too.
we have a bit of a pumpkin theme on the show today. I'm going to show some really great templates for carving pumpkins and show you how to carve them and print the templates without hurting yourself.
Oh, that's great. We're also going to show you how to manage your blogs.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be eating pie a little later on.
Pie.
Pie. Have you guys been running? Have you been keeping up with your running schedule?
Yeah, we're trying.
Trying to get out there.
We're eating a lot of chocolate, so...
well, that's a bad thing
that's
to do.
Bad.
Is put
we have to get rid of that.
A bowl of chocolate kisses on there.
Yeah, that's not
the
good.
one thing I have to say, though, and this is... I just want to tell you how I avoid eating candy. They often, if you read the reports, they allow... I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the States, they allow a certain number of bug parts or animal residue in every candy. So whenever I'm looking at a piece of candy, I always think, boy, there's probably something in here that you really wouldn't want to eat. And that just sours me on the stuff right away.
I should try that for sure.
Think of that.
Yeah.
Just bug parts. I'll have some bug parts. Now you can take that. Mikey doesn't want it now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he took it. Let's get our first caller of this show on today. Who do we have?
Yeah, we have Ted from Quadra Island, British Columbia.
That sounds like a neat place. Have you ever been to Quadra Island?
No, but BC's a great place.
BC's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Let's take a walk over here, and as we walk by, would you like to dance with me, Basil? You're going to take, a little quick. Come on. We can't decide who leads, and you just broke the camera now. All right. Oh, my gosh. Wow. You're a wonderful dancer, Basil. Hey, Ted, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Hi, Leo.
We're still in our Halloween mode here. Yes. Pumpkins and rats and things like that. And I have a fog machine, too, back here. We'll show that a little later on. What can we do?
Here today, just a beautiful sunrise.
Is it? Oh, I bet it's gorgeous there. Now, is it an actual island you're on?
Yes.
Yeah. How big an island?
About 28 miles long and
it's pretty hefty.
5-10 miles wide.
A lot of people there?
2,500.
Oh, it's a small town.
Small town.
Yeah, that's great. Are you the computer whiz in your town?
Probably just one of a few.
What can I do for you today?
Simple question, but let me give you the background.
Okay.
I read a Windows XP tip that on a network using Windows desktops.
Yeah.
That if you change the icon names with on different machines to the name of the machine.
Yes.
Then with Windows Desktop, you can tell where you are, because otherwise, with the full screen, it's hard to tell whether you're on your computer or another computer.
That's a very nice idea. Yeah, we actually, when we do the show, when we demonstrate remote access things, we'll actually change not just the name of my computer, but we'll actually change the desktop and say computer 1, computer 2 right on the desktop in big letters. That's another way to do it. But so what's the issue?
Well, the issue is that my Windows XP machine sometimes reverts back to the generic my computer in my network neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I went into the registry and found what I thought were most of the entries of the changed name and exported those entries into a reg file.
Right.
And then just had a shortcut on my quick launch bar where I could change the names back when it reverted. But it always bugged me why it wouldn't stay.
Oh, you're clever. So that works to restore it.
Well, that was a temporary move.
Right.
But it wasn't really fixing the problem.
Yeah, why it reverts.
Right.
Now, when you changed it initially, you didn't just go click on my computer and select rename, as I'm doing here.
Yes, that's what I did.
You did do it this way. Okay.
And that was the way to do it in the tip.
Right. Well, I mean, it's very simple. You didn't used to be able to do this, by the way. I think it's something new that they put in XP. Before, they really were adamant. My computer should stay my computer. But now you can just rename it, Leo's computer. Or in your case, you're changing it to the name of the computer.
Right. So I can tell which computer I'm on when I'm using remote desktop.
Well, you've already, I think what you're running into. Now, by the way, I asked Mikey about this, and I don't know, maybe Andy has some experience with it too. Mikey says his sticks. His does not change back. But one of the things about Windows XP is it's supposed to be self-healing, and you may be running into that self-healing thing where periodically it's checking to see if everything's the way it should be. What you might want to do is actually make the change in the registry.
Well, I found, since I first put my question in, I finally found where I could change my computer permanently.
Right.
Which is in the default log-on user in the registry.
Ah, so instead of changing it in your login, you change it in the default login.
Well, in the registry, you end up with 5 or 6 different users.
Right.
And one of them being the default one.
Right.
And, of course, that's not available or not visual normally unless you go into the registry.
So what I was going to show people, and this is probably what you already have figured out, is in HKey class's root, if you go to the CSL ID, you can, in fact, or CLS ID, class ID, you can, in fact, go down here and change the, this actually is kind of cool. You can have it use a variable to name the computer, use the percent variables, in the thing to name the computer, so you don't even have to know what the name is, and you can make that part of your default install. But sounds like you've already figured that out, or even found it better.
I figured out one part of it, but not the second part.
Yeah, which is
the my network neighborhood. Isn't a parallel situation to my computer name.
Yeah, I think network neighborhood is kind of is a little different the way they set this up.
And I haven't found that one yet.
I'll put the it's a kind of a weird. The CSL ID is CLS ID is a weird one. It's it's this long number right here. Nobody would really be able to find that. But you could do a search for my computer through your registry editor and find it here.
Well, I use Registry Crawler, which helps.
Oh, that's a great little program. Yeah, we should make that a free file. So yeah, that way you can find what you're looking for very quickly. And you would think, gee, I just changed this here where it says my computer, but in fact this entry right here, my computer, doesn't change. It doesn't affect the name at all. That's just to let you know what it is. It's down here that you want to change these things here to reflect this new name that you want. And you can actually use, I'll put this in the show notes, you can actually use variables there instead of using a real name. So you figured out how to change my computer. It's my network neighborhood you're stymied with now.
Right, still. Well, what I've done to a certain extent is I've hid the problem. I used Tweak UI and just took the network neighborhood off my desktop, so I only have the 2 icons left.
Just hide the darn thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's probably the best way to do it. And of course, I'm not allowed to give that as an answer because that's really dodging the question. But the truth is, very frequently, if it were me, that's what I would do, is just say, oh, you can't figure out how to change the name?
Well, I finally figured out I wasn't using the network neighborhood icon anyway.
Yeah, you don't really need that.
Well, I just buried it into the quick launch bar.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very good idea. You can modify how your desktop shows up. This is Tweak UI, which is a great program Microsoft distributes, by unchecking these boxes. Now, you'd think it would be nice, and maybe we should suggest this to Microsoft, that Tweak UI would also allow you to do the renaming here and do the registry changing for you.
Right.
So it sounds like you've kind of solved the problem. I think My Network Places is a little bit of a different animal than My Computer, and I think that's why they don't want you to change it. I think that
well, you can still change the name on the desktop.
Right.
But then it reverts back.
Yeah, and I think
if you have a hiccup or something.
Yeah, it'll reset everything.
It'll reset everything.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And I think that there may be a reason for My Network Places not to be renamed. I think it may be that some programs look for it. One of the hideous things that people who design Windows have to constantly deal with is programs that do things dumb or wrong. Look at values that they shouldn't be looking at, values that the user could change, and yet if the user changes it, it breaks the program. And so what often happens is that they'll go, I've talked to Windows developers, it's very interesting, they'll actually go back in and they will patch Windows program by program so that to keep these older programs working. And that's one of the things they have to do. There's a guy whose full-time job is doing that. And one of the things they have to do is say, you know, if you change, for instance, and I suspect this is what it is, if you change the name of My Network Places, some dumb program somewhere is going to stop working. So what we'll do is periodically check that and fix it. And that's the kind of thing you deal with in Windows. And it's the kind of thing that drives users crazy. So I don't have an answer for you about how to change that permanently.
Okay.
But
Leo,
I think you found a fix.
Put a request in?
Yeah, sure, Ted.
Under your old program, you used to have show notes in a text format.
Yeah.
Which I used to read all the, I used to get and read all the call for help questions.
You like to get the email.
Right, and because that was the most important part, was the call-in help.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you do that on your program?
I will absolutely. Jay, who is our wonderful webmaster and works very hard, I think we're working on a show notes newsletter that will be plain text, and I think that that's just a matter of time, Ted.
Because I was cutting and pasting
that's no good.
Those help notes into a file that I could always I could just search when I was looking for something.
Well, I'm very aware of the value of, over time, the website and the emails that we sent out as a really great compendium of information. And we're kind of had to start to do it all again from scratch when the channels changed and all that stuff. But I think we're going to get that back up to the way it was. We do have rights to that old database, and I do want to do a text email of the show notes, and I'm going to work on that for you.
And then, of course, to have it in something like Groups Google.
Okay.
You know, where you can search for a question, go back to day one kind of thing.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I think that's more up to Google, but we'll make it so that Google can do that. How about that?
That sounds great.
Ted, I appreciate it. It's really nice to know that you use our work.
I've been a faithful user for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, sir.
You bet.
Take care.
Bye now.
Coming up, pumpkin pie with Waka Waka Walker. We'll talk about how to make partitions when Call for Help continues. Fall is in the air. You know Halloween's just around the corner. For tradition's sakes, we're getting out pumpkin pie, and we're going to use them to demonstrate what else? Disk partitioning. Andy Walker has a story for you. You know, and Andy and I, because fall's in the air, decided to wear Hawaiian shirts today. I don't know what that's all about. Amber's sensible. She's wearing a sweater, but we're wearing Hawaiian shirts.
I don't know.
You know, it's our last gasp attempt to pretend it's summer.
We're trying to hold on to summer as it fades.
So what is a partition?
Well, any given hard drive is, as I've demonstrated here with this Pi. Imagine this Pi is a hard drive.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
And that's your C drive, right?
Okay.
Traditionally, it's the entire thing.
That's the physical drive.
The physical drive.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can actually make it seem like you have many hard drives by dividing up a hard drive into areas, into partitions.
Just like you would take an office, for instance, with one big room and use partitions to make cubicles, you can take a hard drive, a physical hard drive, and use partitions to make what they call logical hard drives. They look like hard drives. They're not actual physical hard drives.
That's right. So this could be C, and this could be D.
Did you ever work at a pastry shop?
And this could be E.
You got to understand, he's not only writing with icing, he's writing upside down with icing.
That's right. Now, we could also make this out. Any drive can be partitioned into four pieces. But typically you have three primary partitions, and then you can have an extended partition which can actually have many what they call logical drives inside it. So you could actually have, so we've done C, D, E. We could actually put F in here. I can't. I'm getting
now
really small.
Getting too small.
F, G.
So this is what they call a primary partition, and you can have up to 4 of those, or you could take one of those primaries and make it an extended partition and subdivide that even further.
So you could go.
That's a Windows thing, by the way. Not all operating systems do that.
You could go all the way up to the Z drive or the Z drive.
Z drive.
In Canada,
wow.
Right. So and the way you do that is, I mean, my favorite way to do that is to use a tool called Norton Partition Magic. Actually, Norton just acquired it from PowerQuest.
If you do it before you install the operating system, you can just use Windows.
You can use Windows to create it, but it's just hard to manipulate them or change sizes
after the fact. There's nothing you can do. You have to start over. Yeah.
So
I love it. Partition Magic's a wonderful program.
It is a great program. So here, I've just got it up here on my computer, and as you can see, I actually have 2 hard drives here. I have a disk 1 and a disk 2. They're 2 physical hard drives.
Right.
But disk 1 here is actually divided into multiple partitions. So I have a C drive, an H drive, a G drive, and an I drive.
And it knows the rules just as the Windows partitioner does. It won't let you do anything illegal,
right,
or something that will confuse things. Now, why would you want to make a partition?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, if you wanted to run, say, an older operating system, it would make sense to put Windows 98 on one partition and Windows XP on another. One of the most practical things for families, for example, if the kids run rampant, run their games and that sort of thing, and Dad and Mom want to have their own experience, with Office and things like that, then you could actually partition the drive into multiple pieces. The kid's partition, Mom's partition, Dad's partition, so that if anybody messed anything up, that Windows ultimately, would be okay for Dad or Mom if the kids put games on there. The other thing, of course, would be to clone your drive. So take a copy of Windows XP and put a copy of that drive on another partition, so in the event that it explodes, you could actually switch to a different partition.
You obviously can't copy the partition onto the partition. That wouldn't work.
No.
So there's 3 reasons you might want to do it. One is technical, because you have multiple operating systems. The other is organizational, because you have multiple users, or you want to separate your data from Windows. And the third is so that you can do things like make backups of your primary partition.
Yeah, it's very useful to put all of your programs, for example, on another
partition. Magic is not free. It's about $80 US.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But if you do this a lot, or you want to resize partitions without, backing up and restoring all your data, it's a must-have tool. I think almost every geek ends up buying a copy sooner
or later.
There it is. Hi, everybody! For more information on secret Windows processes running behind your back, that is, talk about mixing your metaphors. We have pumpkin pie and Hawaiian music. Check out, maybe they have pumpkin pie and Hawaiian, I don't know. Check out our website, callforhelptv.com. First, it's time to test your technology with today's quiz question. I feel like Martha Stewart. What is a blob? A blob. Is it a collection of stored binary data, a fast-spreading virus, a very popular 80s horror movie? That would be The Blob, not a blob. Or big, lazy old buzzard. That's what we call Mikey. Get to the website, give us your answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues. Good. I know something's happening. Welcome back to Call for Help. We're getting in the mood. See, we're getting in the spirit for Halloween, because it's coming soon. Pumpkin pie for everybody, and fog coming out of the city of Toronto. But right now, I'd like to take another call. And Amber MacArthur's been talking to our callers, and I think he has a good one for us.
Yep, we have Mike from Toronto who's here.
All right. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, g'day, Leah.
A little foggy in Toronto right now? It ought to be. I'm pushing the button. What can I do for you?
Well, Leo, I'm building a new system based around one of the AMD FX53 739.
Oh, my.
Sorry, 939s, I should say.
Oh, be still my heart. That's a nice processor.
Yeah,
how much did you pay for that?
I figure it'll last me a little while.
Yeah, how much did you pay for that FX processor?
I'd rather not say on the air.
I don't blame you. Maybe your wife's listening. That's an expensive processor, but all right.
But a very good one.
It's the best. It is the best on the market today.
Sorry, our current system is an AMD K7 800 on an Asus K7V motherboard.
Okay.
And it's a nice little system. I mean, it's lasted us now 3 years,
yeah, it's pretty old,
for what I do, if it was fine. I know I'm not going to be able to sell the thing. you know, I've got it sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, it'd be nice to be able to turn that into like a web server for my little website and mail server.
Great.
So I was just wondering how I'd go about doing that.
Absolutely. That's a great use of that. The K7 wasn't the, you know, I mean, by now it's pretty obsolete, and you're right, you're probably not getting any money for it. But it's more than enough to run Linux on, and that's what I would do with it. Linux does not require a whole bunch of horsepower, especially if you don't put the graphical interface on. I mean, that's really what really bogs down any operating system, is the menus and the icons and stuff. And a server doesn't require any of that stuff. It can be a simple command line operating system. Most Linux distributions come with Apache, which is the web server software you'd use. They all of them come with a mail server. You know, I wouldn't probably recommend the SMTP, the SendMail SMTP server. That's probably a little more complicated and elaborate than you need. A lot of people, there's a lot of different better choices out there, frankly. But many Linux distros come with other mail servers on them, and it's a great project. Are you fairly comfortable with running a server and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, not a problem. You know, if the way I look at it, I've got a bunch of friends who are administrators of various sites, etc. So if I run into problems, I've got some fairly good help at hand.
Yeah, they probably would recommend you use QMail. I think is one of the most popular mail server. Postfix is another one that everybody seems to like a lot better than SendMail. But those are easy enough to install after the Linux installation. Of course, Apache will already be on the Linux installation. I wouldn't install X. I would leave the graphic interface out completely. When you install Linux, you'll always have that choice if you have which packages you want to install. The only issue is whether you have a router, and if you do, then you're going to want to make sure that that Linux box is sitting outside the router, or it's in what they call a DMZ, so that it can communicate with the outside world. You probably want to isolate it from the rest of your network if at all possible, because a server, of course, gives people a hole into your network, and you want to make sure that that's contained. You know, even if they do manage to hack into the K7, that they can't get to your nice new FX system.
Yeah. No kidding.
Another good operating system for it is BSD. But if you have friends who know Linux, then I would stick with Linux.
Great, thanks, Leo. I appreciate it.
And I think that'll run very nicely on that K7. You'll have no problem. That's really the best use, in fact, I think, for an old computer. What are you going to do for the website? It's not a high traffic site, is it?
No. It's a very niche market website that I sell sporting goods from to back home. So, you know, it doesn't get a huge amount of traffic, but I thought, you know, why not host it myself rather than pay somebody else to do it?
What's the URL?
www.sppss.com.
Is that something, a South Pacific Professional Sports Supply? Oh, cool.
Go.
Look at that. So you sell stuff for Australian sports, or?
No. If you take a look on there, it's gridiron, ice hockey, lacrosse, basketball, baseball, and I sell that to Australia and New Zealand.
That's awesome. Well, my son is a big lacrosse player, so I'm going to take a look at the site. That's wonderful. Yeah, the only issue there is going to be really bandwidth more than anything else. I mean, I think the server will be plenty. I run my server, and it's a very heavy traffic server, probably 100,000 visitors a day on a 2 gigahertz Celeron with a gig of memory. Memory is maybe where you want to really kind of look at it. Make sure you have enough for the number of simultaneous users you're going to have.
Yeah. Well, I've got 512 in there now, and I've got another 258 stick to be able to put in there because there's 3 slots.
It all comes down to the number of simultaneous users, of course. If you have users coming sequentially, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, hey, I think I should be okay with 700 odd.
Good luck. SPPSS.com. Everybody who needs lacrosse equipment, that's the place to go. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Leo.
Take care. Good to talk to you. For all you bloggers out there now, there's a better way to manage your blogs and your time. You can even work on your postings without being connected to the net. Amber was going to show us how to be a better blogger with today's free file. The lovely Basil, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Amber.
Hi, how are you doing?
I have to mention Basil now because he's got a fan club. People that love Basil. So, do you blog?
I do. I started my own blog just a while ago.
AmberMac.com.
Yeah, you can get to it off of AmberMac.com.
Do you post a lot?
You know, I'm trying to post every few days. So
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really hard. It takes a lot of effort. So, you know, I'm trying to encourage people to go there and post questions, and I'm also trying to review some websites there. So that will be good, just because I won't be able to do them all during the show. So.
I find I have to get up earlier in the morning just to blog.
Just to blog.
Yeah, but the wBlogg's great because I can just take pictures.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So this is a great tool. This is our free file, the wBloggar.
Oh, I love this program.
Yes, it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So we're just going to walk through it quickly, and I'm going to post something to my blog, so you'll see how easy it is to do.
Great. Yeah.
So you sign up for wBloggar, and it's free.
Traditionally, with a lot of Blogger tools, you'll actually do it on a website, and you have to log into the site and do the blog on the web. This allows you to do it on your desktop at your leisure and then upload it when you feel like it.
And the best thing about this is if you have more than one blog, you're able to come here and you're able to update them all at once. So you don't have to copy and paste all the same information into your different blogging services. So this allows you, within the tools, you can go and you can choose to post to many blogs. And then you can click the blogs that you want to post the message to. I just have one blog on blogger.com, so we'll just do it to
How could you only have one blog?
I know, I'm so behind.
Nowadays, 5, 6 blogs.
5, 6 blogs. This is really cool, so people can save a lot of time.
Yeah. It also supports a variety of different Blogger interfaces, so you don't just have to be using Blogger.
No,
it's movable type.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other systems.
All of the main blogging tools, it supports all of them. So, okay, so we'll just quickly go into here, and you'll see how easy it is. It just works like a word processing program. Okay. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to post a template for a segment I'm doing later, the Hockey Halloween template for pumpkin carving, and I'm going to insert an image.
That's one of the things this really helps with a lot. It makes it so much easier to get images into your blog.
It definitely does. So
it writes all the HTML for you and uploads it.
It's very easy. So again, you could do this to 3 or 4 blogs, so you don't have to go and do each of them individually. So we post that in. It writes in all the code.
That's nice.
So we can preview it to see what it looks like, because I uploaded this image to my website, so we can link to it there. And then what we're going to do is, in one click, we say post and publish.
That's it? It's doing
just
it.
Take a
second.
It's
uploading it.
Yeah, it's just going to upload it.
Very nice. So this is a way to do it on your desktop as you would use a word processor, but then post it later down the road.
Exactly. That's the best thing about it. And again, you can do more than one blog. So
I've used wBloggar for years.
Yeah.
Well, at least a year since it came out. I just love it.
It's really, really cool. And I think they're coming out with a new version pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think I heard they might be doing a Mac version too. Ooh. For more information about wBloggar, go to our website, callforhelptv.com. People have suggestions for you?
Yeah, they can definitely send them in, send them to me, and if they want me to review a website as well, they can send it to my blog and write down the name of the website, and I'll take a look.
So your blog is ambermac.com. What's your email address?
My email is amber@callforhelptv.com.
Great. All right. Coming up, our office expert is in studio. Formulas and math wizards. Oh, my. The Excel tips are on the way. Come here. Stay right here.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Well, I can tell you. I have some ideas. Welcome back to Call for Help. How are you? Good to see you. It's the time to talk about Office, and we have our Office wizard here. We're going to talk a little bit about Microsoft Excel today, one of those programs that really can come alive if you understand how to use formulas, math to make it jump through hoops. Our Office expert is Michael McBurney. He's going to show us from lexinc.com. He's going to show us how to use formulas and sums and so forth. Welcome back, Michael. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me back, Leo.
Now, last month, Heather was here, your wife, showing us summing in Excel. We're going to kind of take the second step here on using sums in Excel spreadsheets. Why don't you show us what we're going to do here?
Okay, one of the easiest things that you can do inside of Excel, in fact, one of the most basic formulas, is the sum formula. It allows you to add up a group of cells, otherwise known as an argument.
People do that all the time.
All the time. They actually really need this. You just type in equal sum.
That's a very simple formula.
You open up a bracket. And to be able to select what you want to add up, you can actually use the mouse and come up here and drag down. As you can see, it's telling you that it's adding up C7 through to C11. It's giving you a range.
It'll fill in the arguments to the formula.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can press Enter.
And Enter just finishes it?
And it just finishes that way.
Okay. So it actually put the closing parenthesis on for you. You don't have to type it.
I wouldn't recommend that all the time. I've been used to it.
It's a good habit, though, to type that.
It's a good habit to close that parenthesis. Absolutely. Another thing that you can do in here is if you know the name or the range that you want to add up, you can actually type in equal sum. And instead of going in and using the mouse to drag it down, I notice that the name up here is November. I can type in the word November, close my bracket, and you notice the brackets flash when it's closed.
Right.
Understands the argument. I press Enter.
So flashing means we know, understand this will work. So you didn't name that range. It just looked and saw the label and saw it was under it, and it said, okay, that's what you're looking for?
Yes, it did.
That's pretty smart.
Yes.
I know you can use named ranges, but you didn't have to go through all that trouble.
No, because it automatically saw the name and looked down and said, I'm going to add up all these cells.
That's great. All right. Show us some more. I love this.
Well, another thing that we can do in here is one of the biggest misconceptions is the misuse of the AutoSum button.
Uh-oh. AutoSum misuse. Okay. I need my cop outfit again. How could you misuse it?
Well, it's interesting. I think back when I first started training about 8.5 years ago, a gentleman was in my class and he told me, he goes, oh yeah, we just go through and start clicking AutoSum, and I don't understand why nothing's adding up properly.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
I'm like,
that's that little sigma at the top in the toolbar.
Yeah, it's right up
That's
here.
what Heather showed us. You just click that. And
you click it.
It makes a sum.
It automatically looks to the left. And you say, oh, equals sum, C7 through D7 looks good.
Worked.
I press enter.
Yeah.
I go down and I say, oh, okay.
Do it again.
Click AutoSum.
Worked.
It looks great.
Looking to the left. You can even see where it's looking.
Now watch this. Watch what happens.
Do it again.
I click it automatically looks up.
Now it has two answers in that column above, so it can AutoSum them.
That's right. By default, Microsoft Excel, when you're using the AutoSum, will look up, and then it looks to the left. If it sees nothing above,
if there's something above, it will do it the above. And so that's going to clearly give us the answer, not an answer that we wanted. But if you did it very quickly, you might not notice that.
That's right.
Okay, good.
Now I'm going to
Can I teach it to do otherwise? Just by dragging, I guess.
Yeah, you would just take your mouse and you would drag it across like this.
There you go.
And it would automatically fill it in. I press enter, and in it goes.
Now we're correct.
Now, one of the coolest tips, one of the things I try to do in the classroom is save people time. A lot of corporations, when they send people to training, it's so that they can save money.
Yeah.
So part of my job is showing companies exactly how to do that. Now, once I've done the AutoSum, instead of having to worry about clicking AutoSum, AutoSum, I can place my mouse on the bottom right-hand corner, and you're going to notice that my pointer turns into a crosshair.
Okay.
Okay, that's the fill handle. When I double-click on this, watch this.
Oh, man.
Automatically drops the formulas down, and what it looks for is the first blank row.
And it did it correctly. It didn't get confused by
That's right.
Yeah, so it did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's great. Double-click the handle.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time. Let me show you this one more time.
I love that.
A lot of people don't know this one.
No, I never saw that.
You place your mouse on the bottom right-hand corner, and you double-click, automatically fills all the way down until it finds the first blank row.
Formulas are very powerful in Excel. You can also do conditional formulas, if-then statements. Can you show us a little bit about that?
Yeah. One of the most difficult formulas for people to wrap their mind around is the if statement.
Right.
Now, some people, they know them, they can just type them in. But if you're having problems with if statements, one of the easiest ways is to use the function wizard.
This will actually walk you through creating your function.
That's correct. Now, when I move up here onto the standard toolbar, you're going to notice a little sigma symbol here. When I click on the down arrow, again, it provides me with a drop-down menu, and you're going to see more functions. When I click in here, it gives me a little dialog box saying Insert Function. Now, this has changed over the years.
These are all the functions that Excel supports?
Yes. Actually, right now, you're going to see or select a category. This is the most recently used.
I see.
But if I click down here,
you can get all financial, date and time.
Statistical. There's tons in here.
Yeah.
I think well over 400, in fact.
Wow.
Now, what we were looking at is the if statement. And what an if statement does is basically does a comparison and returns a value of true or false.
Right.
Okay.
Very handy if you're looking at values and saying, if I had a good quarter, let me know. If I had a bad quarter, let me know.
Exactly. Do I get commission or do I not?
Well, let's do that. Can we do that?
Let's check that out.
Okay. So we're going to create our own here.
So it says if statement. I come down here and I click on this OK button. And it says the logical test. Well, what is the test? Well, I want to know if Long here has sold over $600 worth of merchandise in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say, okay.
So you click the fourth quarter amount.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that's $750.
Fills that in.
I'm going to say, is it greater than? Whoops. Which is the greater than symbol?
Yeah.
Or equal to 600.
All right.
And if that is true.
Yeah.
Then what I want to do, I can also use this little range selector here. I'm going to click on this.
Okay.
If that is true, then multiply F8 times G3, which is our commission rate, 15%.
Let's tell him what his commission is.
That's right.
All right.
I press enter, takes us back. And if it's not true, well, Long's in a bit of problems.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell Mr. Long to get a new job.
So Excel will look through the spreadsheet. Do you have to close that quote there and get a new job?
Oops, I got to close that right there.
There you go.
I thought I got it. Sorry about that.
And so this will actually go through and tell us whether the guy gets a commission. Can we do it? And now, can we double-click the handle and fill that in all the way down?
Yeah, one of the things you'll notice, I just went back to click on it.
Yeah.
I had to make G3 an absolute reference.
Okay.
Okay, and basically say, always look at this.
That's the commission rate is always up there.
That's right. Instead of, if I didn't do that, what would have happened if I'd have to have 15% all the way down the rows? So again, I'm going to use that little tip that I did before. I'm just going to double-click.
So two guys need a new job.
The two guys need a new job.
All right. When you come back, I want you to talk more about what you mentioned, absolute and relative references. Because that's something that's very confusing in Excel, but really makes a big difference in how you can get your formulas to work. Michael McBurney is an Excel wizard, an office wizard, does office training. For more information about Michael and Heather's company, it's lexinc.com. And, of course, our tips are always on callforhelptv.com. We'll have more calls, more for you right after this. Stay right there. Thanks.
Everybody, work, 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 work.
This isn't work. You couldn't call this work. Welcome back to Call for Help. I'm Leo Laporte, your tech doctor. The doctor is in. Let's get another patient on the line. Amber MacArthur.
All right, we have Brent from Kinserly, Saskatchewan on the line.
Hey, Amber, I noticed that those chocolate kisses, the level's going down in that bowl.
Yeah, I don't feel so good.
Oh, dear. Get the kisses away from Amber. Hey, Brent, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you doing, Leo?
I'm doing great. Thanks for calling in. What can I do for you today?
I wanted to know about installing software in the computer.
Yes. If
you're installing multiple software, games, and stuff like that, like, do you have to reboot every time after every installation?
Yeah, you're probably like me, Brent, where you're just impatient and you'll install 4 programs at the same time. Each one will say, reboot now, and you say, nah, nah, nah. Now, sometimes that's not a problem, sometimes it is. It depends why it wants you to reboot. There's 2 main reasons why the installation program wants you to reboot. If you're installing something that has drivers or installs services or wants to start up when the computer boots, it asks you to reboot so that it can kind of get itself ready to go.
Right.
So if you installed Real Player, for instance, before you used Real Player, you would need to reboot. Now, if you don't plan to use it, or before you install the rest of these programs, in general, in that case, it's safe to continue.
Right.
Because you're not going to use it. Of course, if you try to use Real Player without the reboot, it wouldn't work. It'd say, well, I don't know, because the drivers and the services haven't been started up.
Right.
Now, there's another reason. Sometimes installers are modifying files that are currently busy because Windows is running. And it can't modify them while Windows is running. So what it does is it writes in effect, a batch file that will be run before Windows runs on the next reboot. And that batch file completes the install by moving key files into key system files into place. Now, in that case, you do run a risk, because if you install another program that does the same thing, you can overwrite its batch file, and the first install will never complete, or you can impact it in other ways, and it will mess up the first install.
Right.
So the problem is it's hard to know why a computer program that you're installing wants you to reboot the machine. In the first case, you don't need to. In the second case, you probably should. So I'll be honest with you. The best advice is, yeah, if it asks, do you want to reboot, say okay and reboot. It's a pain in the butt. I don't do it.
I was just wondering why I give you that option.
Yeah. Well,
you can say no. Like if you had a bunch of, like if you're doing a clean install.
You might want to. I know you want to go through a bunch of them. I'm the same. Brent, I'm with you. I do the same thing. If you can suss why it wants, Real Player clearly it wants to do that because it wants to install its drivers, then you can ignore it. If there's no apparent reason why it wants to do that, then I would suggest rebooting, because it probably does mean it's replacing some files it can't get to right now.
Right on.
Okay?
Okay.
Hey, Andy, yeah?
Well, especially if it's a Windows update, for example, you probably
should, because they depend on each other.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really changing some fundamental bits of Windows. You could end up with a crash if you don't.
That's a very, very good point. That's key on Windows Update. Do continue to do those reboots each time. Usually it won't let you out of it. It'll force you to do the reboot. You cannot go on.
It'll bug you.
If it says you can say no, I would say that probably means it doesn't matter.
Right.
Hey, Brent, I thank you for the call.
Right on. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, take care.
Brent.
Don't go anywhere, folks. Still one more chance to take our daily quiz and maybe show how small it's. Oh, this is a good one. Katja thought this one up. I like this one. What is a blob? Is it a collection of stored binary data, fast-spreading virus, a popular 80s horror movie, or a big lazy old buzzard, a.k.a. Michael? We'll be back with the answer right after this. Stay here. Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you what a blob is. It's that. No, actually, it's used in databasing whenever you have a field that contains multimedia objects like video or pictures, any stored binary data as opposed to plain old text data. They call that a blob in your database program. Hope you got that right. As opposed to The Blob, which was the Steve McQueen movie of the 50s. You don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Let's take a look now. Amber's got a click for us, something kind of fun for the season.
Yeah, something good for the season. It's about pumpkin carving. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a site that actually has some really original ideas for templates for pumpkins.
Templates? I never thought of using templates.
Yeah, it's really easy. The site Jack-O-Lantern.com has some great templates, including these templates that are emoticons, if you're into that.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, if you're a real techie, those are great.
Internet pumpkin.
Internet pumpkin. So
I like the alien schwa.
Yeah, it has lots of really fun stuff. But the one we're going to look at is the hockey horror show.
Well, that's appropriate.
Yes, very appropriate.
The hockey strike.
Yeah. So you'll take a see. It's supposed to be a hockey mask.
Ooh, that's scary. That's very Freddy Krueger.
I know. So the idea is that you take the template and you can actually enlarge it. Save it as enlarge it and print it out. You might need 11 by 17.
You had to because you have such a big pumpkin.
Yeah, because I had such a big pumpkin. If you have a regular sized pumpkin, you should be okay with just a normal sheet of paper.
And the templates are smart because they know that you can't cut a hole there because it'll fall out.
Exactly.
So it does it all so that it will hold together.
Exactly. So what you do is you print off the template and then you cut out all the pieces.
How did you do this on the pumpkin? Did you draw it and then cut it?
Yeah. Actually, we'll bring out the pumpkin. I'll show you the pumpkin I carved.
Can we get Mikey to...
Yeah.
Oh, the Grim Reaper is here.
Here, we'll put this back on.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So we'll set it up in front, and I'll just show you quickly how
Rough night last night, Mikey? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's
like death warmed.
I know. So this is the pumpkin that I carved.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell in the studio because it's so light. If we could put a candle in there and dim the lights, you'd be able to see. But you could tell.
There's candles in there. Yeah, there's candles in there.
Ooh.
So it's very cool. So the idea was you get...
It's really great.
Yeah. Don't get such a big pumpkin, though, because this is very heavy. Maybe a smaller pumpkin, and you just tape the template to it.
Right.
And then you take a black marker and you trace all around. And, of course, you cut out the top of the pumpkin, gut it, and maybe bake some pumpkin seeds.
Don't say the word gut it, because Mikey's getting there.
And then you actually take... I used an X-Acto knife. I actually broke 2 X-Acto knives, but just be careful. Use any type of knife to carve it out.
If you've got kids, you can buy pumpkin carving tools that are duller, but they work. They're little saws.
They work.
And stuff.
This is a really thick pumpkin, so it took a long time. But it's kind of cool to come up with an original idea. So you don't have your typical pumpkin with the tooth and,
I like the emoticon ones.
Yeah, the emoticons are really cool. So in honor of hockey, I thought I'd do this one.
The link is on the website?
Yeah, the link is on the website. Yeah, they're very easy templates. So there's lots of great ideas.
Just in time for the season.
Yeah.
Yes. And now, by the way, if you want to send Amber any of your suggestions for tips, things you've used that you'd like to share with the world, what's your email address?
It's amber@callforhelptv.com.
Oh, man.
It's very heavy.
That's heavier than I would think.
It's very heavy.
Let's get another caller.
All right. We have Jeffrey from Calgary, Alberta on the line.
All right. Jeffrey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, welcome to the show. Here, Basil, would you take this? No, he's not strong enough. I'll carry it. I'll put it right here. Hey, what can I do for you, Jeffrey?
Well, I just bought a PowerBook.
Oh, good.
OS 10 on it.
Yeah.
And a few days ago, I bought Microsoft Office for 2004.
Yeah.
And I like to use the Microsoft Entourage as my default email program instead of the one that came with the operating system.
Right. This confuses people because in OS 9 you had a control panel that would allow you to say what your default email program was, and they took that out of OS 10. And now the way you change your default email or your default browser or any of your default internet programs is within another program. This is very confusing. So in other words, to change your default email to Entourage, you have to open Apple's Mail program. Very counterintuitive. Go to the preferences, and in the preferences you can say what your default email reader is, and you can actually change it. You see, I don't use Mail either. I use PowerMail. It gives you these two, but you can select any other program. So if you want to use Entourage, if it doesn't show up in this choice menu, you can use Select, and you can browse to Entourage in your applications and make that be let's see if I can find Microsoft Office. I don't even know where I put it on here. Make that be your default email. There it is. Microsoft Office 2004, Microsoft Entourage, select, and now Entourage is my default email program. Similarly, if you want to change your default browser, as I have, you would open Safari, and then tell Safari that you want some other browser to be the default program. So it's kind of counterintuitive. You're saying, I have to open Safari and then make my default browser something else. But yeah, that's kind of how it works. Now I do have a recommendation. Let me go to the preferences and just show you. You see here again, default web browser, and I can change it to something else. Mine's OmniWeb, which is actually really great. It uses the Safari engine, so it's as fast as Safari, but has a lot of nice features. Let me show you real quickly another way to do this. If it's more than just mail and your internet browser, there's a system preference pane that you can download called More Internet that allows you to change all the helpers. And this, in some cases, is the only way you can do it. You don't need it for mail. You don't need it. I mean, you can use it for mail, but you don't need it for mail. If you wanted to, for instance, the Mail To link right now is going to Entourage because I changed it. But you can change it directly in here. You could say what program runs when you click QuickTime and so forth like that. This is free and available on the web. I have a link on the website for it. It's called More Internet. You can also get it on Version Tracker. And it just gives you more control if you want to. Apple took it out. I don't know why, but they do make it possible. You just have to go to the program that Apple distributes to control that particular kind of internet protocol and change it in its preferences. Does that make sense, Jeffrey?
It does.
Yay. Just go to Mail.
I will.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Take care. Let me change it back. I use Power Mail, and I really like Power Mail. Someday I'll show you that. Very nice email program. Hey, coming up, we're going to show you how you can be on the show. Call us. No prank calls allowed either. We'll be right back. Stay here. Babalooey, all right? Saturday. That's a nice pumpkin you made, Amber. Nice. I like that. Now, we have to keep this pumpkin healthy through Halloween.
Yeah.
The problem with carving, if you carve them more than a couple weeks ahead of time, they just kind of end up squishing.
Yeah, there's a product on that site called Pumpkin Dunkin'.
Pumpkin what?
Dunkin'.
You dunk your pumpkin in?
Yeah, to preserve it, but I think you can use petroleum jelly or something as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you have to somehow inhibit the fungus.
Yeah, I mean, keep it outside for sure.
Yeah, we need that for the pumpkin pie. Look,
What happened there? Who got into that?
The control room ate my pumpkin pie. My desk partitions.
So that's what happens, if your computer crashes, your partitions got eaten. Yeah, that's what happens to that one. Well, okay, good show.
There you go. Excellent show. Yeah.
We're going to do a Halloween show where we're all going to wear costumes. You want to tell us what your costumes are going to be? Or is this a secret?
Mine's inflatable.
Ooh.
Okay. I really have to think about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Inflatable costume, huh? I'm going to come as the member of the Chicopee, Massachusetts Police Force. Nice. I don't know why I happen to have that, but I do. Don't forget to check out our contest online at callforhelptv.com. That's the website. I know you love cool prizes. Visit the website to win some great stuff. And by the way, while you're on the website, click on that button that says, I'd like to be on Call for Help, and you can ask your question on there. We have a little form there you can fill out so that we know, for instance, what operating system. And Andy's tip, if you have a net cam, you're much more likely to get on the show, right? Amber at callforhelptv.com. Send their marriage proposals there. If you say marriage proposals for Andy, go to Andy at callforhelptv.com, and you can send your irritation and your complaints and criticisms to me, Leo at callforhelptv.com. Remember, if you have a problem with your personal computer, don't whine, don't moan, don't yell. Just call for help. Have a great day. We'll see you later.